Everybody, and welcome to Hex Token Channel. Your host, Superman, in the house. Hope everybody is doing well out there. We're gonna have we got a pretty packed day today, so I hope you guys are in for the ride because it's gonna be a lot of fun. Get into chat, say hello. We've got a poll up today. Of course, the video, the beauty of the Pulsechain ecosystem, isn't that thumbnail pretty amazing? So big shout out to whoever made that up because I thought it was pretty nice. Hey, the question, we got a poll in the house. We got, what do you think is the most beautiful thing about the Pulsechain ecosystem? We got a couple of options there, Pulsechain and PulseX tech and tokenomics, the growing community, of course, DeFi and all the good things, the principles that we like in the Pulsechain Hex ecosystem. Or do you like the third-party ecosystem dApps, the DeFi and NFTs, all these awesome project teams building on top of it? Of course, do you like to pump your gains? Who knows, 1,000x, 10,000x from the all-time low? That's typically a good reference point. We will see. So get in there. We've got 4 votes. We'll see how we go. We've got 23 votes already, which is pretty awesome. So the beauty, what do you think is beautiful about the Pulsechain ecosystem? Now, obviously, it's not launched yet, but it's coming, and it's going to be epic when it does. And I think after all these CeFi and centralized exchanges, people have got wrecked, not your keys, not your coins. Then I think a lot of people are it's going to amplify the amazing ecosystem of Pulsechain when it does launch. Now, we know Richard Hart says, you know what, we don't need anything else. We've just got Pulsechain, PulseX. Maybe we need a fiat on-ramp, off-ramp, and a few little things like that. But apart from that, just the base is amazing by itself. That's Richard Hart. But, of course, we have this incredible ecosystem building on top of it with third-party dApps and much more. We're going to talk about that later on the live stream. We're going to be covering that, definitely coming up there on the beauty of Pulsechain ecosystem. Stay tuned for that later on in the second half of the live stream. Before that, of course, we're going to get into some of the big news around the crypto market. And, of course, Pulse Bitcoin is first. Pulse Bitcoin has been minted and is in. You can buy it now the last couple of hours. So that's going to be cool. We're going to talk about that. Get into the chat, say hello. And, of course, if you got any alpha in there, drop it into the chat. That's how we like to rock and roll here. It's going to be a lot of fun. We got Ted Nelson in the house there. Hey, everybody, ready for another great stream segment. I appreciate that, Ted. Me too. I'm excited. And Liz Beneath says, hello, how are you today? Very good. And here's the ultimate strategy, EHEX, PLS, and PLSX for the win, 100%. And, man, we're covering that topic today. So good idea on that one. Michael Racine says, Hex, Pulse, and PulseX, absolutely to the moon. And, of course, Michael Racine, how yeah, Superman, bring in the goodies. I like that. Or goods, as Michael says. That's true. What's up, Superman? Woo! What's the word on Pulse Bitcoin? We're going to talk about that. That's our first topic. We're leading with that topic. So we're not leading with Hex today. We're leading with Pulse Bitcoin. So stay tuned. That's after we do the crypto market, of course. That's the way we go. Check my pulse says, evening, Hexagon family. Good to see you in the house. Pumpkin Owl says, hello, family. Let's have a look here. Hello, family. I was wondering how to check my yield on my BNB Pot stake. I've been poking around. I can't see where it shows any yield at. Or been staking since day one. Now, it won't show you your yield percentage, which is a good idea. You should give feedback on Telegram for that, but it will show you how much BNBP you've earned staking your BNBP. And, of course, we'll look at that. I think we're looking at that later on in the live stream, so stay tuned for that. Brendan's in the house there. How's Superman and family? Good to see you. Pumpkin Owl as well. Was also wondering if I'm in my Hedron stake, can I put the Icosa yield from that stake into Icosa stake? If I in my Hedron stake, can I put the Icosa yield from that stake into my Icosa stake? Yeah, should be able to do that. Get into Discord and ask Wookie. Wookie is our specialist on that. That sounds like that's what you can do. Pumpkin Owl says, hey, Superman, man, and family, nice to see you all. It's been a while. Glad to be here. And where's it at? Thanks again. Hey, you're welcome there, Pumpkin Owl. Hey, Pumpkin Owl, yeah, get into our Discord. Links in the video description, and you can ask, plenty of questions around that. We've got lots of people on there willing to help you on that one. Crypto Tycoon's in the house there. Hello, everybody. Good to see Crypto Tycoon. We got Pulse Beta as well. Good morning, Super. I have missed your shows because of work. Richard Hart, come and save me as soon as possible, says Pulse Beta. Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people are waiting for Pulsechain to help them stop having to work and get that financial freedom. Yeah. Now, you can also get it with Hex, but, of course, you got to accumulate your position of T-shares. That's the other way to go, of course. Now, remember, nothing on this channel is investment advice, just my own opinions. You must do your investment due diligence. Remember that very much so. And that's not just true for my channel, true for all YouTuber channels, no matter how big or small they are. Remember to do your own investment due diligence. Shane's in the house there. Hey, y'all legends. Hey, good to see you, Shano. We got Rango in the house as well. Morning all. Good to see you, Rango. And of course, we've got July there as well. We need a community effort to get those auctions started in Hedron, 5,700 and unstarted. Yeah, I noticed that, July. So we'll definitely, I was going to talk about that later on. So we'll talk about that. Hey, from Queensland, says Jimbo Sticks. Good to see Jimbo Sticks. And Tortoise is Johnny as well. Oi, oi, oi. And good to see Tortoise and Katie as well. One of our moderators. Awesome stuff. Now, testnet V3 around the corner. That's pretty cool. Now, just thinking about KDs, that Texan token claim is finished, I believe. I think it finished about an hour or two ago, at least a couple of hours. So we're going to talk about that briefly later as well. Congratulations if you did get the Texan token. We will talk about that briefly later. So stay around for that. Brennan says testnet V3 around the corner. We hope so, Brennan. We hope so. I've been talking about it a lot on this channel. And, of course, we talked about it yesterday as well. I will probably pull in one of Richard's videos that we had talking about that. But, of course, I don't really see much reason for a delay. But what I would like to see, and I don't see the market conditions delaying that either. So I would like to see that out when they're ready. Hopefully, I don't see reason why it would take a particularly long time. And I'm not sure of the intricacies of the 0.25% fee. Apart from that, I really can't see much issue for that. Now, obviously, the mainnet launch, we want that to launch at the right time of the market. So that's a different topic altogether. So obviously, we want this to find out where this bear market's going to end. And, of course, this could get dragged out a little bit, as I've said in previous live streams. So we'll get to that too. Hello, all. Is actually decimated. Good to see you as well. Hey, we're up to 7.5 minutes. So we're going to get into it, folks. Let us go. I'm going to try and remember to put a contents after the live stream so people can just jump to the section. If you're watching this after the live stream, get your comments in. I will respond to them all. All right, so BTC at the moment holding up. The hammer has not yet fallen. Bam! The hammer has not yet fallen. And maybe it may have been this week. We thought it might be this week, but maybe it's next week. I just don't think the pain at all is over, and I can't see any reason why the price would particularly move up much higher. And, of course, here we are, BTC, 16,685. I still think we've got a bit of a contagion going on, and I think that's yet the hammer's yet to fall on that too. So 16,685, we're pretty happy. Obviously, the higher the asset prices, the happier you are. Your portfolio bags look better, unless, of course, you're looking to buy. ETH there at $1,217 at the moment, holding up. BNB at $271. We've got Matic at 87 cents there. Solana at $12.87. And how are the stables looking? Stables looking okay. They're looking reasonably stable there as well. Looking at Crow or crypto.com is at 7 cents, down 1.7% there. So those are some of the ones CEOs have coming out and give proof of reserves. But of course, proof of reserves don't tell you whether they've been lending out on the same asset, right? So you don't know if you've got the circular thing going with one asset comes in, they multiply lend it out. You don't know whether they're taking a lot of risk with the balance sheet, things like that. So Kraken's coming out, said that they're not doing anything as other, people have come out with their own, exchanges have come out with their own confidence building measures to try and get the market not to do a run on the bank, as it were. So obviously that would crash them all. So they're trying to protect that off. So that's probably a healthy thing. They should probably start doing transparency things and also possibly get third-party auditors in if they're going to run those things as well. So there we go. Let's have a look at El Capo of crypto. Now, obviously, we've been following him pretty closely. No one escapes the hammer. That was yesterday, 19. Of course, we talked about that. And what do we mean by the hammer? That we're going to get that next rung down to potentially the bottom of the bear market. In other words, get down to either that 14K mark, which is where El Capo thinks, or down to 11K and pray, which is where Richard has been talking about for a long time, give or take a couple $100. So that's kind of where he is at the stage. So that was yesterday. And, of course, 13 hours ago, he gave us an update. The more I look at the charts, the clearer I see the capitulation that's coming. It's a matter of time. Patience is key. And then when patience is key in the markets, it's number one numero uno. And, of course, remember the impatient pass on their wealth to the patient, right? And remember that. The impatient pass their wealth onto the market. I don't know what's happening with these bikes. No, that's pretty hilarious. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, look at that. It's crazy stuff there. Must be really slippery. That's some crazy stuff. Here we are. Representation of a capitulation event, folks. That is it there. There's a representation of a capitulation event. Oh, look at them go. That's pretty hilarious, actually, to be honest. Oh, my gosh. I feel sorry for some of them, though. Oh, boy. Oh, look at that. That's crazy stuff there. That's representation representation of a capitulation event, I should say. I'm almost twisting my tongue around that one. Oh my gosh, look at that. That's horrendous. Oh, that's terrible. Anyway, so you don't want to be these people, right? You don't want to be these people. Patience is a really, really profound principle to know in crypto. And of course, learn from some of the best, like El Capo of crypto there. So that's pretty much his updates at the moment. I'll leave his Twitter if you want to follow him in real time in the chat there. And there we go. Bam. All right, cool. That is El Capo of crypto. I follow him. I like his commentary on it. So that is the markets at the moment holding up is where we are. But is the hammer about to fall? We will see. I think it's more likely than not. So there we are. Now let's get into the big news today. Now this has been the biggest thing coming up. Obviously, we've had the Hex HSI auctions. They've been a lot of fun. We're going to talk more about that later. But Pulse Bitcoin, folks, is finally in the market. We've been following it for, 30 days? People mining and transforming their PLSB into Pulse Bitcoin. Now, we've obviously got a new market price. Yay! It looks exactly the way I said it was going to look, right? Which is pretty typical. There's no genius there at all. But I said it was going to start off really high. When someone sets a liquidity pools up, it looks like they try to start it off here at $30, and then it just got sold down. Boop! And there we are at the moment. And, of course, went to $2.29, got to as high. This is on the 15-minute chart, by the way. So if we go to our hourly chart, this looks even smaller. So how many hours? 6 hours it's been running. And, of course, we got the high of $5.33. It's and a low. Where's the low here? The low, I guess, was at the beginning, $1 it was. And then it went to $5.33. And now you got to remember the liquidity is like probably next to nothing. I wasn't there when it opened, but that's typically what it looks like. And now we're at the moment, we've got a price of $2. What's it? $2. Where's the price? $2.76. $2.76 at the moment. And that's where we are. So how big's the liquidity pool? There are a couple other trading pairs around, but they're quite small in liquidity, and maybe 10,000. This one here's got $128,000 of liquidity. It's got 36,600 Pulse Bitcoin, and it's got the pooled USD. There's about 33,000 USD in here, so that's where it is at the moment. So, yep, that's the one. We're going to have a look at the contract. How many last 24 hours? So obviously it's only been going for about 6 hours. So the numbers are pretty much the same, but we've had 485 buys and 224 sells. And obviously we get those early dumpers. So what do I expect to happen with this chart? I told you guys this again and again. I expected this to start off really high and get sold off, bam, at the beginning of the liquidity pool, pretty normal. And then, of course, to go down a little bit there at the moment. There's so many people interested in this that's going to have a lot more support than a lot of charts do. And, of course, community is fairly big, and there's whales in there too. That it would go down, and then, of course, it would probably do some sort of hockey stick. And, of course, what happens with hockey sticks? You have to find the right place. Now, this is not investment advice, but you have to find the right place to take profits, right? Because if you decide it gets up to the top of the hockey stick and you're still thinking it's going to go higher and higher and higher, then your greed could be your downfall. If you're looking at the short game, obviously, if you're playing the long game, then, you're just going to go through the ups and downs, and, of course, so to speak. So we'll be looking out for that at the moment. It's currently $2.79 is the price. Let's go have a look at the blockchain where the Pulse Bitcoin is. Let's do a refresh. And we've got 567,936 Pulse Bitcoin in the market already. What were we expecting? I think we're expecting about 1,070,000 is the total amount minted so far. So it looks like that's about just over half of that. We've got 1,032 holders at the moment. There we are, and we've got lots of different stuff going on here. I'm not sure what some of these functions are called. Yonk, I'm not sure what that is, but we'll get into the holders. We've got some of the top holders in here at the moment with Bitcoin, 79,077. We've got some of the trading pairs as well. We've got lots of these big holders in here. They're holding the Pulse Bitcoin. So we've got how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We've got 12 holders with over a 1%. So at the moment, and to get on the front page, on the first page, you need 1,716 Pulse Bitcoin there. So that's what, about $5,000 or something, something like that. So cool. That is where we are at the moment. Let's have a look at the contract, and we're going to go read only Pulse Bitcoin. Look at that. Cool. On Solidity, Pragma Solidity. There we are as well. And so we're going to have a look at the read only. Let's have a look at some of the functions. You guys know I like to do this. We've got ASICs there as well. So we've got the ASIC address. ATM address there. What else we got? We've got lots of other cool functions here. Current day decimals, miner, contract, mining fee, name, number of halvings in there. We've got the total supply. That's what we've got at the top there. So cool. So there's some extra ones there. You can check those out. So that is pretty much it on that one. We're going to come back to that at the moment. We're going to go over and see what the total amount is. I don't know if I've got the chart up here, actually. Let me just get back up to the chart as well. So we've got Pulse Dogecoin, which is the main coin. And that is currently at $6.08 at the moment. Has a high of the day of $6.33. And we've still got 10 minutes in this daily chart here. So 10 minutes left in this candle. We're currently a low of $5.80, high of $6.33, and current price $6.08, which is good. It's kind of good at the moment. So that's kind of where we are. We've had, let me have a look here. So we've got this time zone. We've had the two things going on at once. We've got the transform PLSD into asset tokens to mine Pulse Bitcoin, and we've got the asset token to get asset miners. So this is almost finished. I'm pretty sure this is very close to finished. So let's have a look at the results at the moment. So we've got the transform. Let's see where we're going. We've got 2,999,102 Pulse Dogecoin has been transformed into 14,745 asset tokens. Remember, you get 5 asset tokens for 1 Pulse Dogecoin, and your Pulse Dogecoin gets burned and destroyed. So we're up to 49.2% of all Pulse Dogecoin is now destroyed. We're getting closer to 50%. That's pretty fascinating. I wonder what sort of gains will happen after that. Let's jump over to the mining and see how much has been mined so far. 6,955 miners. So that's decreased from yesterday. Obviously, with people coming after 30 days, you have to, pretty much claim. Otherwise, you start getting some penalties later on. We've got 14 million asset tokens. And wow, look at that. Woohoo! I jumped yesterday. I thought something was not quite right with this previously. So it looks like people are minted and stuff like that and mining. So we're already up to 1.6. Yesterday, we were at about 1 million and 80,000, something like that on here. Today we're up at 1,606,000 Pulse Bitcoin, and that's in the halving 0. So this is basically the first phase before we get to halving 1, which is sort of the Bitcoin halving. So we don't get to that until we get to 10.5 million Pulse Bitcoin. We're already at 15.296% of that before the first halving happens. And of course, the rate of return, this rate return 7.5 will go down. I think it gets halved exactly, I think, if I remember rightly. That's kind of where we are at the moment. So impressive. Let's jump over to the asset token miner. 17 hours to go and 34 minutes. Woo! This is fun. I actually kind of feel like the asset token might be more valuable because you're not going to be able to, apart from ATMs, which earn onwards into the future, you won't be able to get ATMs anymore. And of course, they'll possibly be quite valuable, just like the Watts NFTs. And of course, you to transfer Pulse Dogecoin into assets as well. So it's going to, maybe after the Pulse Dogecoin, they could get quite valuable, the old asset token. So this is a nice, interesting play. Obviously, it's not investment advice, but it's going to be fun to see how those play out. It just seems logical to me that maybe the asset's going to play out more valuable. But anyway, we got the global ATM there at 3,500 ATMs, and we got the average global points increased again to 1,100. So this is, remember, we were down at like under 700. Now we're at 1,100. So some big whales have come in. Look at this. Oh my gosh, look at that. 3.7 million points or $3 million gone into here. All the big whales have started coming in the last 4 days or so. And wow, we were up and away. I think we were sitting down at like 1.8, 1.9 million. And then we just kept jumping to 2.4 million, 2.7 million. Just keeps going up and up. And we've had another big day in the office, that late big whales coming in, 3.7 million points. These guys are chasing the asset token. I think that's exactly what I'm saying, is that people, maybe slow at the beginning to think, oh, I get the asset token, but now maybe people think maybe the asset token is the thing I want to get because that's your mining machine, right? That's your mining machine. And of course, that's running out. So it's going to be interesting to see that. Also see it potentially decouple from the Pulse Dogecoin price as well. I presumably it's still at 1 to 5 ratio. I haven't actually checked that, but that could decouple as well. So that's going to be interesting to see that. So lots of fun happening in Pulse Bitcoin. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Let's go to the chat and see what people have said. See whether people have. I know a lot of people have mining and things like that. So let's jump in to see what people are saying about that in the chat. We definitely got that ATM counting down, as you can see the counter there running out of time. Now, what to get this, of course. you need to use one of these coins, USDC, USD Tether, DAI, Wrapped ETH, Hex, or Hedron. And so that's what people need to use. Let's see where else. We've got a couple more comments. So we're going to see where we're up to. Pulse Dogecoin, Thailand, woo, the land of smiles. Good to see you, PLSD Thailand. What's next after FTX, says Wendy Shift? Well, hopefully nothing. Hopefully nothing. We'll see. We'll see. There's lots of different ones that could potentially play out. One that Richard said might play out. I don't think that's going to potentially play out. We will see. They have come out with a adamant that their balance sheet is strong, so we'll see how that goes. I think it was Nexo, something like that. So Yeti's Labs in the house here, honestly, from mid-May to now, and we're still waiting. RH is either timing the market or he is security testing the crap out of PLS. Well, Yeti's has actually changed, so they're actually now forking the proof of stake version. So that's a very different future now. So they're not doing the old BSC version. I think they have to do a bit of enhancements to it in terms of the 0.25% fee. Maybe change some parameters. That's about it as far as I can see. And I think they're probably got a lot of the hardware for it already. So that shouldn't be a big issue either. Luke is in the house there. What do you think the Hex bottom can be to get to 0.1? That's always possible if we have a sudden move down in Bitcoin that get that crash down to 11K. That'd be like a $5,500 move in a day or two. That's definitely possible. So nothing's out of reach. But at the moment, Hex has been holding up. So we'll talk more about that when I get to Hex. GBCC is a whopping 42% premium. Yeah, it's massive. G'day, Superman. PLSB is out. Yes, it is indeed. And Brian as well. Good to see it. Sup, folks? Good to see you, Brian. More delay, more pay. She's been a long wait. Pulsechain, Pulsex, many other projects going to be worth it, I reckon, says Jimbo Sticks. That's right. If you're thinking about the big X returns and it delivers, then, it will pay itself off, won't it? Just the way it goes. But in the meantime, people have got to be industrious, and there's other opportunities. So you're going to see that happen. People can't just wait around and do nothing for 2 years. And so people have been getting on. Teams have been developing products, and opportunities have been out there. Definitely opportunities. We've been covering some of those good ones on this channel, and it's great to see. Some of those products have also benefited the Hex underlying contract, and we've been very excited about that. Made the bear market a very fun, productive place. So it's been a lot of fun there. What else have we got going there? Here, got all the bikes there for that terrible crash out. Hey, we got Crypto 7 in house. So smash the likes. Hey, good to see Crypto 7 keeping up the great word. It's great to have so many quality Pulsechain Hex YouTubers out there just being consistent. Doing their thing, whatever they like to do. Some people like to do interviews. Some people like to do market reviews. Some people like to cover the drama. Some people like to cover wide-ranging topics, economics, and things like that. So there's so many good YouTubers out there doing a lot of cool stuff. So get out there and show them some support. Very cool. And what else? We got Brian in his house. Started my second PLSB mining period today. Well done, Brian. Well done. A lot of people in our Discord have been talking about Pulse Bitcoin and mining today. It has been really, really fun to see that. And well done. We've got two chats. We've got the Richard Hart token chat, and we've got the new token chat. So you can get into the new token chat and talk all about that. And it's pretty cool. Check my pulse says, bring on Pulsechain to save crypto perception. Crypto's not failing. Failing, is it? Yeah. The way centralized entities are used, it is wrong. Yeah. Well, this is the confusion that they put out there, right? Because all the self-interest that's out there with referral links to margin trading and things like that is, as I always say, a lot of these guys know a lot of the stuff. They know about your keys, your coins. They've known this for years. These guys are old school players. Have been in crypto for years. But the problem, and they know how good DeFi, especially quality DeFi is. But the problem is that they've got so much self-interest out there that they just don't talk about it, right? Because they're making money and jam, as it were. Money and jam. You heard it here first on Hex Token channel. Yeah, money and jam. All right, so cool. Woohoo! $33 says Brendan. Yeah. Remember, the ASIC is your money printer, churning out Pulse Bitcoin monthly, average 90% API, says Pulse Dogecoin. Yeah, that's right. That's the point I've been trying to talk about there. Sandy Beach in the house as well. Hoa's in the house too. I love the sandy beaches there. What else do we got? What is Pulse Bitcoin? It is basically a virtual representation of the real Bitcoin by Satoshi. And of course, it basically mimics that in every way. Got ASIC tokens instead of ASIC physical miners that are confirming hash rates. It's got Pulse Bitcoin instead of Bitcoin. And of course, it allows everybody to get in today. You can get into a kind of virtual representation of that. So there we are. You can mint your own tokens. It's all just a lot simplified. What else have we got going on there? We got, I'm still in the process of minting right now, so I'll be in and out, says Sandy Beach. Nice one. Bought more Hex though. Nice one, Sandy Beach. We always give the bow down to the Hex buyers in the chat, so well done. Yeah, well done, says Brennan. Yeah, for sure. Francis in the house. Hey, Francis, good to see you as well. Good to see Francis. And who else is in here? We got a few other. Yeah, Discord. Jump into Discord. The link is in the chat there. Katie says, I like jam. Yeah, I like jam too. Money and jam. Hashtag money and jam. That's right. Check my pulse. You heard it here on Hex Token channel. Woohoo! Crypto Claus says, morning team. PLSB way cheaper to buy off the market at the moment, says Crypto Claus. Nice. We love that sort of info. So that is pretty much it with Pulse Bitcoin. And we'll be watching this as it goes. It's currently $3.03 at the moment in the house there. And it may be, like as the Crypto Claus says, an opportunity. So there we are. Make sure you do investment due diligence. If you want to find out more about that, get into our Discord. Have a chat with other people that are also already mining and things like that. So that's what the Discord is. And the link's in the chat there. You can jump in here. We've got two main chats. The Richard Hart token chats. That's Pulsechain, Pulsex, Hex, and of course the incentive token, as well as second layer derivatives like Maximus, and of course who have a number of products: Maxi, Base, Trio, Lucky, Decimus, and all those good ones there. The whole ton now, and of course Icosa and Hedron. So get in there. Now, if you want to talk about new project that are going on a Pulse chain, either directly or indirectly, in other words, they're going on another chain first, but coming on a Pulse chain, then get into our new tokens chat, and that's where people have been talking about Pulse Bitcoin all morning. Now, I was surprised to see there's like 45 different things in there. I thought when I logged on earlier today. So cool. We recently crossed over 1,000 members as well, which is awesome. All right, so cool. If you like good information, good community, get in there on that one, folks. All right, we're going to close down a few things here, and we're going to get into Pulse Bitcoin's final commentary from the online. From Twitter, we had the very first Pulse Bitcoin has been minted in existence 5 hours ago. Remember, there will only ever be 21 million coins. That's very important, I guess. Make sure you end your Pulse Bitcoin miners if you started them 30 days ago. If you have not read the website specifically around the penalty, you should do so. Now, if you want to get hold of the links to this, you can go to the new token links here under Pulsechain. We've got Pulsechain projects, and you can find the links for Pulse Bitcoin. I've actually got that one in there up here somewhere. There'll be Pulse Bitcoin in here somewhere around the mark. I'm trying to find it now. Actually, now that I talk about it, Pulse Bitcoin. I'm pretty sure it's in here somewhere. We'll try and find it. I'll double check that after the live stream, but I'm pretty sure it is in this list. So there it is there. Pulse Bitcoin. That is the link there if you want to get hold of that. Cool. Let's jump over to, we've got any other comments from the founder of Pulse Bitcoin? No, that's it. That's it for that one. We're going to get into Hex now. And of course, Hex is at just under 3.1 cents, just mucking around, middling around here at the moment. A nice little opportunity. I've got this in the accumulation zone, obviously, and I'm expecting that potentially end in the middle of December. Maybe we'll have a rally. That will be subject to how the Fed rate's going and things like that. The Hex third birthday, and of course, whether we get any Pulsechain V3 testnet news. But that's kind of where I feel like we're going to hum along at the stage. Now, when I look at that, I'm looking at the previous. We're still in our bear market for Hex, which means there's always opportunities once we get down near the bottom. Now, when is the bottom? I think we're pretty much in a nice accumulation zone. Could it always potentially go down to 1 cent? Possibly. But at the moment, it's been holding up pretty well in this range. We also saw this back here in June as well. We had our first bottom there at 2.8 cents on this chart. Now, sometimes it wicks a bit lower, but doesn't show up on this chart, so just take that into account. And then, of course, back on the 20th of September, we got down to 2.77. And recently, we had this big whale sell out a big amount on the 7th of November. We wicked down to 2.29. Some people did manage to get a limit order set at about 1.8, 1.9. Apparently, they did. I think Hex Auto was one of those. And we've managed to bounce that. So we're pretty much still in this accumulation zone that I've had mapped out for a while. And, of course, I'm still expecting that to run through potentially to late December. Obviously, not investment advice. It's just my assessment at the moment. And, of course, we are waiting for Pulsechain V3. I think that Pulsechain V3, because it's going to be the proof of stake, could be potentially a very big catalyst. A very big catalyst there. Just realized got a big comment on the chat there. A very big catalyst for Hex. So we'll wait and see how that plays out. because it's going to be the first proof of stake version of testnet. That's a big deal. We're expecting that to be public, and of course, Richard's told us to get excited about that. So we'll talk more about that later on in the live stream. We'll play some of his clips. The other thing, of course, is that we've got the Hex 3rd birthday coming up pretty closely here as well. So we're going to just do a few days there. We're not too far away from it. About 12 days away from Hex's 3rd birthday, 2nd December. And of course, that's going to be a lot of fun. So that's going to be day 1095 on Hex Journey. Before that, though, we have got big market events happening around this time as well. And of course, we know that the Federal Reserve is kind of the main game in town at the moment, moving from cheap money to more expensive money. And how more expensive is it going to be? That's going to be very important for the real economy and, of course, ultimately financial markets as well. So we've got the PCE inflation rate coming out on the 1st of December. We had the headline CPI number come out for October, and that was fantastic, right? It came down from 8.1 down to 7.7%. We're waiting for the PCI inflation for October. We had September at 5.1. So the PCI number is a different method. Using GDP, it's a much broader method, so it is a broader encatchment of inflation. And of course, this is what the Fed uses to target their 2% target. So if this comes down as well, just like the other indicators, we had to produce a price index, which is kind of like the manufacturing index for prices. That came down too in October. So hopefully this feeds into the PCE and we see that pull back too. That means that it's less likely we'll have more hawkish rates, even though some of the more hawkish presidents of the banks have been coming out being quite aggressive. I do suspect that we have a decent chance now of a 75 basis points. I was talking about 50 basis points, but seeing the last two presidents come out being quite hawkish, one has to wonder whether they're going to do one more final 75 basis points rather than 50. The market had been pricing in about 80% for 50 basis points, but just the last couple of comments, you've got to be a little bit tenuous about that. I think they're a bit more critical about it because they looks like they may surprise us with the 75. That's not going to be good for markets. That could cause a major sell-off there. So yeah, 50 basis points. Let's hope we get that. And of course, let's hope we get PCE inflation that's a bit lower and lower than 5.1% for October, and that might be a good sign. So we'll be watching that very, very carefully for the lead into the Fed rate hike on the 14th. Is the last rate hike for the year. Remember that they have 8 meetings a year. And of course, the next one after this is February, then March. So we'll see how we get on. Hopefully 50 basis points. That'd be good for us, for the markets. And that would bring us up to a federal funds rate of about 4.5%. Yeah, I expect we may taper off at 5.25%. If we go past that, ouch, that'd be terrible. We had one of the presidents talking about 5 to 7% range. We know, man, getting past even 5.25 is getting up there and getting a bit tough. You got to, because the retail rates are on top of that, right? So if the retail rates are somewhere between 6.85%, 7.25, you can imagine just going up higher, another 100 basis points. That just adds another percent on there as well. You're starting to get up to high 7s, 8% of the retail interest rates, and of course that flows into capital markets, into businesses, etc. Starts to change the whole game. We're already seeing cracks in the big tech companies with them, firing people, letting people off. Some of that's to do with being too fat. After you've had a big bull run, you hire too many people, you start taking on so many projects, and then of course many of them fail. So there's a lot of inefficiencies in there. There's cultural issues in these companies as well. We know they become very politicized, very activist type of corporate cultures now as well, as you got all this extra fat in there now as well. So people, if they're going to be rational, they're going to cut out a lot of that stuff. So we're seeing a little bit of that sort of things happening there too, as well as supply chains and stuff like that. So there's lots of more complicated business level issues to deal with too. So anyway, we got the Fed rate, so we'll see how we go. Hopefully we get 50 basis points. So fingers crossed at the moment for that. But for Hex, of course, Pulsechain V3, that's what we're looking for. Testnet would be really good before the end of the year. And then maybe we've got some hopium around the actual launch. I want it just to launch at the right time. So I'm not too worried about that. I would like to see it earlier than later, of course, just like the rest of you. But patience is important as well. All right, so let's jump over to the Hex Whale-bot, see where that's been going at the moment. Let's have a look here. We've got a couple of, actually, I don't think we've got any updates here. We had some Hex cars, the Hex cars in London again, I think. They've been driving around from the looks of it, the old Hex taxis. I think that's it. There's nothing, is there? This one, oh no, there's got a couple here. We've got 100,000 newt 8 hours ago, so we've got some penalties there. 775 days versus 2645. That's some crazy stuff right there. Surely that's been compromised, that one. 1 million Hex nuke there as well. 1.8 million there. Surely that was 59 minutes ago. Man, that's some crazy stuff right there. We had a 2 million Hex in stake 23 seconds ago. And of course a 50% APY. So that's pretty impressive there. 1,005 days. It's been around for a while. And of course, remember, we're heading up towards 1,095. We're not too far away from that. Was it 1,080, 82 or something like that? Something like that. So cool. We'll get up to that. There's the Hex whale bot. Not much to see there apart from some good penalties. So if you've got your T-shares, check out hex.com and the link in the video description. You've got your T-shares, then you're earning a bit more today with those penalties. Let's have a look at the global stakes coming out. Now, remember the other day we got that big payout on T-shares, 10.8, the fifth biggest in history. We have had a few that high, but that's pretty impressive, right? So we're enjoying those payouts. Now, obviously, on the stakes here, we've got quite a few. I'm just going to go to the end of next year, maybe. What we're going to get to about November the 3rd. No, a bit later. We go to November the 28th there. Oh, we've got some lightning outside. Just had some lightning come through through the window there. We've got these stakes coming out here at the moment. We've got 265 million coming out on 21st November. What day is it actually? I've got only not. Oh, yeah, that's about right. It's coming up in a day. We've got how much there? We've got 375 million coming out on 25th. We've got another big day here, 300 million coming out on 27th. We've got this one here, big one here on the 1st of December, just the day before the Hex 3rd birthday, 545 million. And of course, this one, we've got another big day after that, 402 million coming out. And then we've got some other ones around there, 6th of December, we've got 322 million. Then we've got quite a big gap between before the end of the year and so on. So that's pretty much it. We've got the front of the wave, as we call it. These are these short, large holders that just keep short staking. They either scrape interest or just like to have that short-term liquidity play. That's kind of where they're at the moment. And of course, you can see the rest of the year coming up ahead of us, folks. We have this one big candle out here, the 3rd of September 2023, but it's a long way away, 620 million and so forth, and 407 million here. Now, we don't have any billion level candles like we have had in the past, but we are now getting into the hundreds of millions. Sometimes we get them, jumping on top of each other when they mature, and they just jump on top of each other, but that's pretty much it, slowly and surely. The other thing, of course, they're getting diluted by the share rate. The share rate's over 25,000 now, so they're getting less and less and less as well. Because remember, longer pays better in Hex, and so slowly and surely they get diluted. Now they get to the benefits of short staking with liquidity and interest scraping, but in due time they're getting diluted from that point of view. So let's jump around to that. That's pretty much it. Let's go to Hex on the other chains. Hex on ETH to PAL. We've got $500,000 of trading volume, so it's on the light side for ETH PAL. Not a big level there. We've got Hex at number 13, and it's at 0002652 on the old ETH PAL chain. And of course, $36,000 in liquidity for the top pair, and only $808 on this particular trading pair in 24-hour volume. So very small retail play. But in any case, you're earning Hex on that chain, and you never know when the bull market comes. What will happen with this chain. So there we are. It's definitely beating out ETH Fair at the moment, that's for sure. So we're going to jump over to ETH Fair. ETH Fair at the moment is Hex is still dominating over here, but it's only got $5,800 of 24-hour volume. It's itsy bitsy tiny. That's pretty much it. So we got the price at the moment 407,314. So no convergence. I think the best it ever got to was where ETH PAL Hex was at 0.4 of a penny, and the best that this price has got to on ETH Fair is 0.2 of a penny. That is gone for the time being. We're down at 40731. We had liquidity at $4,200 and only $29 for this top trading pair in the last 24 hours. So no one is spending time on this chain. I'm not sure how the bridges and swappings are going as well. Basically, people have to cross-chain swap to get to the bridge. And then, of course, they had to use a on-chain swapping mechanism to swap tokens. Yeah, we do have all those links in our Discord under useful links here. And you can find all Ethereum Power, Ethereum Fair, all the details for this here. So Ethereum Fair Network and Ethereum Power there as well. And, of course, you can ask any of our moderators can help you out with that as well. So that's pretty cool. Let's jump away from that. That's pretty much Hex and Hedron. We're going to get to Hedron now. Now, Hedron is at 2,639. So just a little bit weaker there. But hey, look, this is where the market's going at the moment. And of course, we've been kicking off with the HSI auctions. It's ticking away here. And I think what we're in day 7, something like that. Is it day 7? Something like that. And of course, let's have a look at the auctions. So obviously, people talking about this earlier. This is how many? We've got 5,707 Hex HSIs up for grabs. And I think one of the problems that is there, folks, is quite a few of these are very small. We've got a 772 Hex here, 1,000 Hex, 1,000 Hex. We've got 5 Hex in this one here. I don't know who's doing these things, but there we've got lots of small, tiny ones here. Maybe people testing things out or something. I don't know. But you got to remember gas fees and things like that, right? Now they've got B shares, 100 B shares, 129 B shares, etc. These are all available now, right? So people have got to activate these, start the auction, and do the process. I haven't actually done that, actually, so let me know in the chat if that. Someone said it was a little bit more complicated, but I would have thought it was just starting the auction. So let us know in the chat if you've actually started an auction. We've got, look at all these small, like reasonably small, 1,500 Hex, etc. There's lots of these. This is probably why this has still got so many that have not started. They should have started already, right? So they've just been sitting here. And yeah, I don't think if they're not material, then they're probably going to have a struggle to get started with the auction there, and they could be stuck in transmission there, I guess. So they got starting bid amounts, which are in the hundreds of thousands here as well, so on. So yeah, there probably is a few out there you can hunt around, but you got to go through all 5,000 unless you're a Web3 specialist. If you're a Web3 specialist, you can just create some code and have a look through right? But for everybody else, you have to just use the tabs and click through. That's pretty much it. So cool. There's lots of stuff happening here. Let's go to the auction house where the actual ones are live. And of course, we've got 121 there at the moment. Let's go and have a look to see what are the big ones. Are there any big ones at the moment? We've got 11 T-shares here. It's going for 937 million at the moment. 4 minutes to go. So that's going to close soon. 91,000 Hex in that one. Let's scroll down and see if we can find any big ones that are still remaining. We're scrolling down, 200,000 Hex here. That's got 3 hours to go. It's got 1 billion bid on that so far. So it's going down. What's it, $260, something like that, is it? And what else we got? Going through some of these, lots of 10,000. So this seems to be, probably maybe the minimum that's coming in. There's these kind of things. We have seen some funny ones come through, that's for sure. 426,000. We got 55 T-shares up for grabs. There's no Hedron bonus, but this has got 306 million bid on this so far with 11 hours to go. So these people will be looking at these ones. These are the ones that people will be definitely looking at. Oh, we got 1 million one here, 666,666 here. Someone likes their 666s, right? So we've got some sort of cult people in the house. 1 million there, Hex as well. There's got some bids on here. So these are the ones that really will be attracting a lot of people. The big, this is sort of ones that Polly would have been bidding on. So yeah, we had about 90 of these up for grabs. So this is probably some of those groups that are over 1 million there. So they're ticking away. What else there? We're scrolling down, have a look at some of these. I've got another 1 million there. There's another one there, 718,000. 13 hours to go for that one. What else there? So there's at least, what's that, 3, 4, 5. There's another one here for half a million. That's going for 73 T-shares. Got 407 million bid on that so far. And then on the last page, we've got a few more to go. So let's have a look here. Scrolling through. So yeah, it looks like there was at least 6 that were that people would be particularly chasing down. And then there's a few other opportunities with the slightly smaller ones there for everybody else. So depending on how big your Hedron bidding bag is. So cool. We'll see how that goes. And of course, we've got lots of these in as well. I don't know if you can filter by size. It would be nice to have a filter on here. So if anyone's got in touch with Alex, ask him if he could do a filter on this. That'd be pretty cool. And you'd be able to filter it by the headline here, the metadata at the top. That'd be pretty cool. All right, so cool. That is on Icosa app, icosa.pro. So you can find that also in our Discord under useful links. You can just scroll all the way up and you can find that on our useful links here. So let's scroll up the top there. We've got everything here. These are second layer derivatives of Hex. So go Hex derivative projects. So Hedron Icosa. This is by the developer Alex McFurter. And of course, you can find all the details here for Icosa Pro app there. That's the one I'm looking at here. It works for ETH, ETHW, and ETH Fair chains. You just have to change the chain over on your wallet, and it will swap over to each of those chains and show you your portfolio on those. Maximus, of course, is also there as well. There's the other second layer project. That's got all the details, including the latest dashboard as well. So if you haven't seen that, they've updated the dashboard, and you can see that. And we might look at that later on. Right, so cool. That is the Hedron at the moment, just chumming around at 2,800. We'll see where that goes at this stage, and that's pretty much it. So let's move on. We did have Dev Huey here. He's been covering Icosa Hedron like a boss, and of course he's a Web3 developer too, giving us lots of cool information. And of course he says 23 hours, 2 watts of NFTs burnt. So there are slowly watts of NFTs being burnt. But hey, look, and this is my point. People are being clever this time. I think people have learned because people are holding on to their watts of NFTs. And there has been no such just sell down on my bags and try and get the recovery. People are holding on to these. We've still got like close to 22,000 left. The people are not letting these go at the moment. Yeah, let's see what happens. Maybe in 4 or 6 weeks, maybe we'll get some capitulating and capturing yields. But at the moment, people are holding on to this. Very interesting. Yeah, it's not often you see this sort of thing. Normally you see a lot of people will burn quite early, and other people will say, man, that's stupid, man. Why are you burning your watts of NFTs? And then it's like, but you're happy, right? Because it's last man standing. So yeah, it's pretty funny. So anyway, holding up at the moment though. And of course, Alex McFurter, the dev says 8 hours ago, almost 6,000 hex stakes ready for auction. And of course, a lot of these are so small. That's probably why they're not going into market. Yeah, it's interesting. I didn't go through the whole list of these 5,000, but I just went through like the first couple of tens, as it were. So cool. That is pretty much it. Now, obviously on the Hex model here, people here, if you've got what's NFTs, it looks like based on $1,000, you would already be at 875. So people are not too far away from break even or free carry. Yeah, the yields have been going pretty nicely on here. This is on hexmodel.com, and of course you can find this in our Discord as well under the Icosa Hedron projects as well. Hex model there we are, a Hex HSI auction site, so you can find all that as well. There's a premium service by Dev Huey as well, but I'm not sure it's only for a limited time, so you can get that if you are bidding. It's only interesting if you're probably bidding and things like that. So cool. That is pretty much it. You've got Hedron, WhatsApp, Icosa, and HSI buybacks there. All the information. We're not going to go through all that today. We have in the past, but we're going to leave that today. Just want to go through the WhatsApp yields because they're pretty nice. All right, so cool. We're going to get on to, hey, what am I doing here? I'm not supposed to be here yet. All right, so let me just jump over to the charts. We're going to get to airdrop free claims, and we're going to get into the beauty of Pulsechain in a second. So stay tuned for that. That's coming up as well. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, smash that subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell as well. If you haven't joined our Discord, the link is in the video description and in the chat. And of course, if you want to join this channel as a member, we got hit the join button. We've got Pulskins, Hexkins, and Richard Hart Club. So get into that too. All right, so cool. Let's get it. We got Pulse Dogecoin. I did talk about that earlier. So we're going to jump over to Zen, which is a free claim token. And of course, by Google employee number 21. So Google employee number 21, Jack Levin there. And of course, this price has continued to go down here. So it's down at 507348. We'll be seeing how this goes. Now, this is what I call a possible play. And of course, what does that mean? That means that possibly you might do really well. Now, I do think it's at the top of possible plays. It has a log function chart, which means that it's got a lot of inflation at the beginning. And of course, it plays out over 8 years. So it's a long tail out there. Hey, look, maybe one third the way through the inflation cycle, maybe that's when it has its first real big move. On the other hand, of course, it's got the Zen NFTs coming up with burnings and things like that mechanism. So apparently that's going to be a big catalyst for deflation. And of course, we can see that people pumped the price on that news, but it just got sold off over time. It took a while to sell off, but it did sell off there at the moment. So now we're down at 507348. Now, obviously, if the market does reach that capitulation, this thing could continue just to go down, right? So that's kind of where we are at the moment. Obviously, on about 9 chains as well. So it's trying to play the network effect. So we'll see how this goes. It's always good for learning, right? To look at these projects that you think this is pretty interesting and see how it goes. That's why we're kind of following this at the moment. It is a free mint as well. Will cost you a bit of gas fees on ETH and things like that. But we're going to see how that goes. I've done maybe about half a dozen accounts over different time periods. I think I've got 2 coming up on day 98 or something like that. So we'll see how that goes. I am in the money. I did mint at 1 or 2 at the right time. That came out at the right time price, but that was only because this price pumped. If that price hadn't pumped, I probably wouldn't have been. I would have been out of the break even or out of the money slightly. So only because of this price pump was that the case. So you got to take that into account. I expected it to go down, but it's a nice experiment in any case. Right, so cool. We got the PP there. Poor Pleb, and Poor Pleb is launched at the wrong time, unfortunately, but it's managed to hold up at the moment. Managed to bounce that back here at 2,300. It's now back at 2,900. Did get to 3,100 here with 5 zeros in front of it. So there we are. That's pretty much where it is. It is free, so very nice. And now you can get all the links to all the airdrops in our Discord under Pulsechain projects. As I say, you go to airdrops free claims, and you'll see all the projects that we're aware of on here as well. So they're all got different qualifying criteria, but basically around Pulsechain sacrifice, hex stake, and things like that. So Texan token is just finished, so I probably will remove that today. That's just finished a couple hours ago, so we're going to talk about that briefly as well. So let's do that now while we're here. So I'm not sure what chat that is. I think it might be in this one here. Yeah, here we are. So Rags says over 20. Yeah, so how long ago was this? This was 6 o'clock. So this is finished. Definitely 55 remaining. So this is definitely finished now in terms of the claiming. If you had done PulseX or Pulsechain or had a hex stake at the 4th of July, you were qualified, but this is now closed. So, but in saying that, Rags to Riches has got a tweet here saying over 22,000 wallets have participated in the donation and free claim phase. Stay tuned on Monday for some exciting news for everyone who participated. So there's more to come from this team. So very exciting about that. Now, what I was going to say was that they're going to be migrating. We've got them as a subgroup here, but they're going to be migrating to their own Discord. So they've been here as they've been doing the sacrifice and doing the free claim. So it's been great having them in the chat there as well. They will Rags and of course Crypto Heartbeat are both syndicated members of this Discord. So that's cool too. And we are looking forward to what they're going to do with mass adoption for Pulsechain. They've probably got the biggest program out there, and it's going to be mass adoption for Pulsechain. It's going to be very, very cool, and we're looking forward to their program in the year ahead. They're particularly targeting no coiners as well, so it's going to be, I think, a very, very good addition. Something like 430,000 in Texas alone, but they are going international with some of their programs, so we're excited about where they're heading. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right, so cool. Big thanks to KD, who's been managing the Texan token in there as well. And we'll bring you more news about the Texan token Discord in the future there as well. All right, so cool. That's kind of where we're at the moment. So congratulations. Let's get back into the final one here. We've also got the wait token here at the moment. Most people are waiting, and we're currently at just under 0.3 of a penny. And of course, that is the chart so far. You can see it's basically broke down half a penny. But is making a little bit of recovery here at the moment. Most people are waiting for Pulsechain, and that's what it's all about, the wait token. That's pretty much it from that one. We're going to jump over to BNB Pot, our speculative play, of course, but this is not an ordinary one. This is a pretty quality one. It's the world's first peer-to-peer crypto casino, and of course, that's new technology in crypto, and it's not so common as you'd think to get new technology or base coding as well, so it's great to see them in the house. The other cool thing is that it's based on a business as opposed to an inflationary tokenomics or deflationary tokenomics. And of course, that offers means you can just sit back and stake your BNBP and just let the thing tick over and earn more and more. So it had a nice little rally, got up to about $13.50. And of course, just closed down here at about currently $11.15 at the moment. So it's holding up pretty well. This is the first sacrifice project as well, the Pulsechain projects. And man, I think it's performed very well. It's got a long future ahead of it. I think the only big challenge is the participation wallet when that comes out. Apart from that, everything else looks pretty bullish to me. So we're looking forward to that. And once again, not investment advice, do your own due diligence, all that good stuff. Let's jump over to the actual BNB Pot DApp. We've got the first game jackpot just ticking away there. We've got some of the tokenomics. We've got the airdrop at the moment, 2,900. That's going to get paid out every month. And we've got the lottery there. 49.5 BNBP. That gets one every week approximately. And the burn there, 44.8 is burning off the token. So the token is slowly getting burned. It starts off with 1 million. And of course, it's getting burned all the time. The one thing with this, I think these are all subject to callable public functions as well. So people can call these, I believe. So whether they do that or not is another thing. Now, the referral, of course, there's a referral program on at the moment, and this incentive for playing at the moment. So there's 100,000 BNB tokens. They're all staked at the moment. And of course, that is close to 55,000. So 55% the way through this wallet. They're only being distributed until the last one is given out at the end there. So whenever that will be, that's when they will come out. So that's one thing that's important there. And I'm just trying to think about that. So stake percentage of coins at the moment, 75.67% is staked. That includes that 100,000 participation wallet as well. It does exclude the Teams wallet, which would be addition if you consider that and not moving around too much. Then that's cool too. Right, so cool. We're waiting for the Powerball game to come out soon. That's going to be super bullish. That was a bit of a surprise. And then maybe a couple of weeks later, we're waiting for the roulette table to come out as well with the NFTs, which is where people bid for the NFTs for the game. And so where they have the people actually own the house, which is pretty cool. I like that. And of course, a few people own the house because they own the tables. There we are. So the Powerball there is coming out hopefully any time now this will be coming out. We're looking forward to it. In other words, the revenue is going to get bigger. And of course, that means bigger yields, right? So it's pretty cool. Now, someone was asking about the staking, of course, earlier. There is no staking percentage on here at the moment. There's a good feedback. I'd give that feedback on Telegram to Jacob, who's the dev there. And of course, at the moment, your reward will just show up here under staking rewards. So it doesn't give you a percentage. You can work out the percentage yourself if you want to analyze what you've earned so far over the amount of days you've earned. And you can do that yourself. All right, so cool. Once again, it's only got one game feeding into it at the moment. A very good game, but only one game at this stage. And we're up to how many games? 7,412 games. Woohoo! So it's just ticking along there. Man, you've seen some funny strategies going on too on this as well. So we were watching a big whale play yesterday, and it ended up losing on its fourth game. So it was actually down. And it did end up ahead later on, but it actually was, for its point of view, had a 1 in 25 chance of losing, and lost on the fourth game, I think. Yeah, fourth game. And of course, then it had to keep playing that strategy to win it back. Fortunately, they had a 1 in 20 chance that it was in their favor. So they ended up winning back. So it was pretty fun. Then they stopped playing. I think they had enough after that. They had enough after that one. So that was funny on that one. And some guy bet them with a 2.7 chance of winning. So it was kind of funny. Anyway, so that's BNB Pot. Let's jump away from there. We're going to get into the Pulsechain. This is the second half of the live stream. We're up to 57 minutes. So maybe it's the last third of the live stream. How about that? Then we're going to get into the Hex Daily Stats. And of course, this is the beauty of the Pulsechain ecosystem. I will put a timestamp in the video description afterwards. And before we do that, let's get into the chat, because I know there's been a lot more comments since I've been chatting away. Sandy Beach says it's a soft, what's a soft like a word has, lol, says Sandy Beach. Good evening from London. It's 12 a.m. here, says InvestX. Hey, good to see InvestX in the house as well. If you haven't checked out InvestX site, check it out. Pretty impressive as well. And what else there? We've got Sandy Beach in the house there, 100. Good to see you, Sandy Beach. What's good? Self-custody. Woohoo, says Brian. And nice. End miner to get Pulse Bitcoin correct. Yes, you have to end your miner to get that. And if you don't, you get penalized. So be careful out there with that one. Just make sure it's 100% complete. Yep. Checking in from Chicago. Love and appreciate your content, says Caliente. Hey, that's wonderful. Appreciate it too. Thank you for dropping in as well. And I hope you come back again soon. My initial miner ends in 4 days, says Sandy Beach. Nice. Living in Crypto says might cycle PLSB into ASIC and then increase mining exposure to get more PLSB monthly. Any pundits doing the same? Yeah, get into Discord on that one, Living on Crypto. People love chatting about that for sure. Andrew in the house there. Hello, everybody. How you all doing? A great weekend. Yeah, it's coming on the weekend here. It's a Sunday here in good old New Zealand, and I'm sure it's Saturday around the rest of the world there in the Northern Hemisphere. Machiavelli with the rockets like that. Smash the likes, you plebs. Yeah, you broke plebs, says Machiavelli. Yeah. Smash the likes. Definitely smash the likes. What else? We've got a couple more comments here. Pulse Beta says we have about 860 Pulse Dodge to be burned to make 3 million, says Pulse Beta. Yes, it's very close indeed. AP's in the house. Hey, AP. Howdy, Superman. Do you know if our Ethereum address will be Pulsechain address when PLS launches? Yes, the same address, AP. So if you sacrifice with that address on ETH, all you have to do is add the Pulsechain network and you can switch that around. That's pretty easy to do. Cool. I assume so, but I want to make sure that is correct. That's how easy it is. You just swap the network over and you'll be fine with the same address. Hey, Tim Top's in the house. What's up, Texicans? Good to see Tim Top as well. Let's jump. We're going to jump through a couple of these as well. Maybe I'll leave it on the hex charts, probably a little bit more interesting. So let's take it away. We're going to jump back to the Pulsechain topic. Is Pulse Bitcoin available to buy in the market now? Yes, it is. And we talked about that earlier in the live stream. Get into the Discord and we'll be able to give you that link as well if you want. On deck screen, you can search for it. Sometimes there's another problem with people bidding on the auctions is that I've seen bidding wars on 1T share with zero bonuses. Let them go cheap. Save your Hedron. There are literally thousands of them. Yes, it's in top. Yeah, that's true too. A couple more in the house there. We've got Hex Love in the house. Good to see Hex Love. John Gibbons as well says thanks, Hex Love. I like that. Surely people will run out of money towards the end of the auction, says Pulsechain. Well, a lot of people are reselling these HSIs back to the Icosa contract to get the Icosa and staking that. So we're seeing that recycling going on. Next in 90 days' time, it's going to be another round of big auctions. Anyone concerned with the price of Icosa? I guess I should have expected some selling with increased payouts recently. Yeah, I think that was a reasonable expectation. I actually haven't pulled that up, have I? Let me pull that up on Icosa. We'll have a look at that. On the Icosa price there. Oh, it's at 95 cents, so it's not too bad. I thought it might have capitulated or something. I was expecting some flash crashes on Icosa, but I don't think we've seen flash crashes on Icosa. No, we haven't. We did get up to $1.53, currently at 95 cents. Haven't seen any flash crashes though, and that's what I might have reasonably expected on them. Hex at the moment, 3.11 cents. Brizology's in the house. Hey, Briz. Woo! Briz. Is HSI the same thing as a Hedron advance? No. Hedron advance, you mean borrowing the Hedron against the HSI stake? No. Or wrap stake? Yeah. No. The Hex HSI is wrapping it. So yeah. Hedron advance is a feature of that. Is the way I would describe that. Let me jump through here. Pulsechain says, well, if people can keep finding money to buy these, then how spare money will get pumped in the Pulsechain on opening? It will be mind-blowing. Yeah, I agree with you on that one. Faces will be melted, says Briz. Faces will be melted. True. All right. I've got a Pulsechain, man. It's a family channel, Pulsechain. It's a family channel. Hopefully the moderators are deleting stuff like that. All right, I can't even put it up. Family channel, yeah. Please moderate any of that stuff, Sandy. Sandy, please moderate any of that stuff. Check my pulse says bring on the bottom, bring on Pulsechain. Yep, we're looking forward to that. Just jumping through some of these comments here. Texan token free claim is over, says Katie. Yep, that's awesome news for Texan token. 22,000, that's a big community now. They've been very clever on that one, so well done to them. We've tried to support them in that endeavor because I think they're going to be really great, not only for Texan token, but for Pulsechain. So looking forward to that. Terry Doc's in the house. Hello, Texan Hex Token and family. Good to see you, Terry Doc, as well. We're just jumping through. I'm going to speed through this. Bullish on Pulse Bitcoin, says Crypto Class as well. What else there? We've got a couple more comments. Unprotected Hex, Pulse Bitcoin plus 30% from the beginning of the stream. Wow, that's fantastic. So we might come back to that later on, so stay tuned. We'll come back to that. All right, so let's get into it. We are going to be talking about Pulsechain, the beauty of the Pulsechain ecosystem, and that thumbnail is delicious on the thumbnail. I thought it was pretty cool. Anyway, so we've got Pulsechain testnet V2B at the moment, and of course this is being developed by founder Richard Hart of the Hex Token, and of course he's been pretty famous on Twitter lately with his "I told you so" tour on Twitter Spaces, and of course I think more and more people are listening to him slowly and surely. He's been talking about this for a couple of years. You know, your keys, your coins. Keep away from CFI. Stop chasing little gains for putting up all your capital for little gains. He's always had a problem with the CFI and centralized exchanges as well. I don't know if he's particularly against you transferring through an exchange on a moment, but definitely because I think he's done it himself. But I think it's really about leaving your funds on there and leaving your funds on CeFi where you have no control. And then, of course, you can't get your money out. We've seen that time and time again. They'll just stop your withdrawal. That's so it's up to you. But welcome to DeFi. We like DeFi, decentralized finance. Your keys, your coins. You have your own wallet. You have your own bank account. You look after it yourself, and you make transactions on DeFi applications. That's where you don't get upset that way. Obviously, you got to look for quality. You still got to have the quality standard and use your safety measures. But like hardware wallets and things like that. But apart from that, you really that's the best place to be. And of course, here we are at the moment on Pulsechain V2B. This is on the old BSC version, and of course, we're looking for the 8th proof of stake version. And of course, I've got a little video here. I'm going to play that of Richard Hart talking about the Pulsechain testnet V coming up. So we'll play that quickly. There it is here. So let's go on this one.
Well, thank you. Thank you for answering my question.
My pleasure. So as soon as all you guys want to ask one Pulsechain, I don't know, dude. As soon as it's ready, they're working on it. There's been a lot of movement in the GitLab. So
yeah, the GitLab stuff excites me.
Yep.
But
when you see V3 testnet come out, you can be more excited.
Yeah, so that's his update. Basically, that's the last update that we've had, really. Don't chase pennies before freight trains. Katie is picking up pennies in front of freight trains. That's the one, yeah. So cool. Let's get into it. So what's the beauty? What are we talking about? Well, we've got a poll at the moment, and these are some of the different dimensions, I guess, we could think about the beauty of Pulsechain ecosystem. So it's not just about Pulsechain itself, because this is a fork of Ethereum proof of stake. So we're going to go Ethereum proof of stake. Now, I think they're going to do some enhancements around that with the 0.25% fee, potentially reducing the S-load function as well. So the Hex stakes are cheaper, even though it's going to be relatively cheap anyway, depending on the price of Pulsechain and the congestion on the network, which will take time, of course, compared to Ethereum. There's different things like that. But we've also got the tokenomics of Pulsex. Obviously, well known as the buy and burn mechanism of Pulse Exchange. And the AMM bot that's going to set up all the liquidity there as well and do all the harvesting of all the liquidity pairs, potentially making the biggest liquidity pool in the world that we've ever seen in DeFi. And of course, not just that, but the fact that it's going to have a massive buy and burn for the Pulse X token, the Node token plus an incentive token for all the yield farmers as well. So it's got all these beautiful tokenomics that we haven't really seen. And of course, it's going to be wonderful to see that play out on a DEX level. And I particularly think that's a good chance it will be a super DEX and really start to challenge some of the other centralized exchanges as well, especially after all of these ones falling from grace, and now a lot of criticism, a lot of skepticism, and runs on the old exchanges that we've seen over the last few weeks. And I think there's more to come with that contagion. Sometimes it has a delayed impact, so we're going to wait for that. So cool. We've also got growing in the community as one of the options in our poll. What do you think is the most beautiful thing about Pulsechain ecosystem, Pulsechain and Pulsex technology tokens? We've got over 100 votes, which is good. Community, growing community, ecosystem, dApps, and DeFi, NFTs, and of course, pump my bags, 1,000, 10,000x, question mark, excitement, exclamation mark. So we're going to look at that poll in the end. I'm just going to go through some of the dimensions of the ecosystem. So number 3 there. As well. So this is where we are at the moment. We're waiting for V3, which is going to be a proof of stake version. That's going to be bullish, I think, very bullish for the Hex price. At the moment, of course, we've got Pulsex up and running as well on the BSC version. And of course, we've got all these cool things. We have exchange, where you can do swap orders. We've got limit orders. We've got liquidity as well. So if you like providing liquidity, earning fees, we've got a competitive fee member. It's going to be 0.29%, with 0.22% going to the liquidity provider. And then the 0.07 going to the buy and burn, which is going to be beautiful. So the bigger the volume, the bigger the burn. And of course, if we get $1 billion of burning, that's a $700,000 of buy and burn a day. Not just buying, not just burning, but buy and burning. And of course, that's super bullish. Particularly the lower the Pulsex price, the more buy and burning that potentially could do. And of course, particularly next couple of years as the price rises, going to have a big impact. So it's going to be pretty cool. We also, obviously, if you do liquidity, providing you can get LP tokens, those are the ownership tokens of all the liquidity that you put in, and you can earn a second reward in the farms through the incentive token, which is the second token. So Pulsex DEX is going to be a dual token system, and that incentive token I think is going to do particularly well because I've seen it do well on others, and this is going to be even better than that. So you'll be surprised because all the big money is coming into yield farming. You get a lot of speculators on that too, you see. So there we are. The other thing, of course, we may have one-side staking pools. Haven't seen much on this so far. We'll see. Now, originally this was going to be third-party dApps coming in, so I'm not sure whether this feature will remain, but we'll watch out for this one with the one-side staking pool. There's no impermanent loss issues around this. Obviously, when we provide liquidity, you have the impermanent loss issue as well, particularly if your peers aren't moving together, like your trading peers. That's why a lot of people do stable coins or this or that to reduce those issues. So we'll see how that goes. The other thing, of course, is we've got the big buy and bird page on PulseX as well, and that's pretty cool. And you can see we're moving up all the time. In fact, I need to make sure I'm on the right exchange here. Let me just, on network, sorry. Let me see. So I'm on Ethereum. Let me just jump over to the Pulsechain V2B network. We'll connect up the old wallet here. And of course, you can see that 75 billion PulseX has been burned on the testnet so far. And of course, you can see some of the peers here that get burned. So this also has a callable function last time I saw. Doesn't seem to have that now. It seemed to have disappeared. So they've made little changes here from the looks of it. The other thing, of course, is they have lots of other details here to the bridge. There's going to be a cross-chain bridge to Pulsechain and much, much more. So we're going to have the main chain. We're going to have a super DEX, AMM bot harvesting, a big buy and burn, potentially thousands of trading pairs. We could see 5,000 or 6,000 trading pairs over time. Obviously, it's harvesting a lot of the ETH pairs over on the ETH chain to set these up with pulse equivalents. Has to do a ratio re-rating there as well. And that's what we're looking forward to see. So, and then having an official bridge to be able to bridge over to Ethereum. Now, obviously, on-ramps and off-ramps also a big part. And so Richard talked about that. Pulled out feeders as well for people to, if they've got exchanges they want to put up for grabs. But we already see third-party solutions happening in the ecosystem. We've got at least 4 stable coins coming. And, of course, that are native Pulsechain and based on the best models, too, that are out there, including the fiat-backed one. We've got Liquid Loans, Coast, and BankX, and others out there as well. There's a 4th one, and I think there's probably going to be more of the existing ones from other chains come over too. So it's going to probably be pretty cool. So we've got all the right things, the ingredients, and of course here's got people working on a heart wallet, and of course these are kind of his basic fundamentals: is vertical integration, Pulsechain, PulseX, on ramps, off ramps, and of course a wallet. A wallet is not a necessary part of that, but it's certainly been part of that vertical integration. Of course, we also have competitors out there like Staker app, like Internet Money, and things like that, also playing out in the game there too. So we're looking forward to that. Now, there may be maybe Richard's also looking to make deals. Unless he's got devs working on these things, but maybe he will make maybe some of these third parties he will make deals with. Maybe we'll have private chats about so then some of that may be going on as well. There's some potential targets that are pretty obvious for that. So you can think about that one too. Right, so cool. Let me know in the comments there if you know what I'm talking about. So that could be playing out too. So we'll see. So let's jump over to some of the third-party dApps, of course. So this is really covering the Pulsechain, PulseX at the top there. Obviously, growing community. We had a massive amount of people already sacrifice, right? So we're getting on the community. We've had a massive amount of people in the community. We had PulseX, the sacrifice, and Pulsechain. The Pulsechain sacrifice ran from the 15th of July last year all the way to the 4th of April this year. The PulseX ran all the way from the 29th of December last year all the way to the 4th of April this year. And, of course, they're both officially over. And, of course, we had a lot of people sacrificing. Now, for PulseX, we had something like 135,000 sacrifice wallets for that. And for Pulsechain, we had something like, memory off the top of my head, somewhere around about 43,000, something like that. So it gives you an idea. And, of course, the ratio is about 3 to 1 or something like that. 4 to 1 on the old, maybe I think it's about 3.5 to 1 on Pulsechain versus PulseX. So we had a pretty decent amount of people sacrificing for that. Obviously, there's a lot of Genesis wallets in there too. I for one, used a lot of Genesis wallets. And, of course, other people did syndicates as well. So syndicates where they go into one wallet and, of course, they sacrifice that way. So we've seen Magic Upright as a big example of that, particularly for PulseX. And so, yeah, there are a lot of a lot more wallets out there and people involved. So we're going to see how that all plays out. So we've already got this big community already. And, of course, there's a big Hex community. There's 113,000 Hex stakers and over 500 holders in the past. There's 313,000 current holders, liquid on the wallets, at least on the Etherscan there. And so, there's a big community already. And, of course, Richard has probably the highest engagement out of anybody that I've seen as well. So very engaged community. So a big community, a growing community. We'll see that in the daily stats, and of course a very engaged community. So that bodes very well. Obviously, we've got big things coming up too with the Highest of Stakes documentary that could potentially reach millions, if not tens of millions, depending on how they stream it and all those sort of things like that. We've also got the Pulsechain, of course, itself is going to the biggest airdrop in crypto history still. Still, that narrative is still true. And of course, it's going to be dropped to all the Ether scam people. And we know there's about 1 million engaged wallets, or a give or take, on that chain every day. We know there's, I think the last time I checked, I think it was over 300 million wallets on that as well, getting copied over effectively. So it's huge. So we have a decent sized community now, and we have potential for a ginormous community later. And of course, we see all the centralized. Now things have just got amplified even more. We've seen a lot of the so-called good chains like Solana have lots of issues. We've seen a lot of runs on these exchanges. We've seen a run on centralized dApps as well that were promising big things, but playing around with the balance sheet. So there's a real lack of confidence in the CeFi centralized space, and more confidence in quality DeFi. But that's a bit, people need a bit more education too to get into DeFi sometimes, and manage their own wallets and stuff like that. So that's definitely a huge amplifier for Pulsechain, and I really can't see anything else out there at the moment that's going to beat the Pulsechain ecosystem narrative, especially with Richard Hart, founder, being right about so many of these things that he's been going on to the community about for all these years. So I think that's pretty bullish. And I think that's going to be fun to see that play out. So cool. Now, we obviously do have a couple of the influencers have had SEC letters, which is currently sort of an information phishing exercise at the stage. I suspect that there's a reasonable chance that they may not go anywhere because there's not really any issues around that. So we'll see how that evolves. No one knows, but we will find out in due course. And that's probably the only little Achilles heel at the stage, but that's not really going to hold Pulsechain back. And I'd be surprised if ever had that sort of impact. So we're looking forward to all the excitement coming up. Now we're going to get into the third-party dApps. We've also got the ecosystem dApps, DeFi NFT. So we're going to get into that third option now. And let's jump over to that. So we've got liquid loans. And look how beautiful this stuff is, just like the thumbnail. It really is futuristic looking and beautiful. These guys have obviously the biggest sacrifice out there, over $50 million US. And I expect these guys to do a lot more in the space, not just forking Liquidity, which is the dApp on Etherscam, but also the stablecoin. Liquidity has a stablecoin LUSD. And of course, we've seen stablecoins like Terra Luna and that fall, and we've seen the market respond. So how's the market respond? The market reallocates money from bad projects and stable coins to good stuff. And so we've seen that reallocated into the stable coins like Liquidity. And of course, we often see that well above parity and things like that. So this is going to bode well for liquid loans, obviously, as a super DeFi project on Pulsechain. And of course, I suspect we're going to see a lot more from liquid loans. So we're going to have obviously USDL about 4 to 6 weeks after the launch of Pulsechain. So we're going to wait for that volatility at the beginning to run out and then launch. And they also need to have price calls as well, so oracles. And we've seen them already announce an oracle there with Teller. So one of the top oracles there coming over to Pulsechain, which is fantastic. So already we're getting that extra benefit that we really need for a lot of DeFi projects. They need to be able to call good prices, and they need also backup prices as well. So it's good to see Teller coming over. Obviously, they've got Pulsex and things like that, and they can do price calls, but it's good to see that backup. The other thing, of course, is we're expecting a lot more from this team. They're very professional. They're growing their community really big. This is very different from how Liquidity launched. And of course, these guys are doing it at the very professional level. So it's very exciting to see all they're doing. Now, they've hired a few new people into the leadership team as well. So we're looking forward to those benefits as well. So very, very cool. Building their community really big from the beginning, launching at the beginning. They're going to be able to ride the Pulsechain price up as well. And of course, they also help big time when people put their Pulse in, it's got a place to go. And of course, they can end up leveraging that and buying more Pulse, more Pulsex, more Hex, more of the good stuff that they like. And of course, that pumps the bag. So very excited about that. But as you can see with the site, it's very beautiful and very professional. Now, obviously, we've been playing around with it on Test Network, and you can see that here now. We've been playing on their dApp, and it looks beautiful. Look at this thing. It's fantastic. So we're getting the very best of the beauty, and as I say, in Pulsechain coming up. It is so good. We got the stability pool. I haven't actually harvested this for a long time. You can see all the stuff I've got here that I can take as well. So we've got the stability pool where you put in your USDL, and of course you get earn rewards in Pulse and loan token. We've also got the stability pool where you can earn, you put in your loan token and you earn PLS and USDL. So there's beautiful passive income earning in as well. It's not doesn't look beautiful, but it's a beautiful payer, and we're looking forward to that as well. We've also got not just DeFi and stable coins, which are coming to Pulsechain. It's going to be beautiful. And these are fundamental, right? Stable coins are massively fundamental. It's going to be, I imagine they're going to flood through a lot of the trading pairs and be a lot of the top trading pairs. So you might see a lot of USDL around the place as well as pumping the prices. So it's going to be fun to see that. We've also got big NFT players. And of course, we've got Mintra here. And of course, this is sort of the front person for this is Gerardo. And of course, this is beautiful. Look at this site. Isn't that so beautiful? I mean, it really is. It's not just the a utility behind it, but the beauty of it's really, really nice and very different, right? So liquid lines using the classic Pulsechain kind of purples, and of course, liquid line purples. And then, of course, I'm interested here with this bright green, this really cool green, very futuristic looking green. Looks almost amazing, like you're playing a game of Eve or something like that, or it really is cool. So, you've got your staking and you're earning your rewards. You've got your NFT platform. You can stake. You've got the burn mechanisms as well, and of course you've got the NFT trading. So all the NFTs trade. You clip the ticket on the way, and if you've got the mint token and staking, and you can see it's a very beautiful site. So very excited about this as well. So people got their wallet and staking. So really beautiful stuff here. So you can see top quality stuff is coming to Pulsechain. Now there'll be lots of stuff that's not so great. But we are getting straight out of the gate. We're going to have all these beautiful products. And of course, because of the time that Pulsechain is going to launch, all these top tier dApps are able to finish their products and get them tested, have beautiful UIs, get feedback, and of course, launch with all these alpha projects. And so it's going to be super bullish for Pulsechain. Really is going to be great. So we've got liquid lines, we've got Mintra, and of course, we've also got Power City coming up. And of course, I did a video a little while ago saying, if you miss Pulsechain, obviously you missed PulseX, but if you missed Pulsechain, and a lot of people did, they wanted to say, hey, I went to PulseX so I could get tokens, so I could ratio trade at the beginning of Pulsechain launch and get myself some Pulse, because I missed out. Because like I said, there's probably, I can't remember exactly, I think it's around 43,000 wallets, something like that for Pulsechain. And people missed out, that seemed like a lot at the time. But then we had PulseX, and PulseX was like 130,000 or something. So that just made Pulsechain look smaller. So you can still see that X multiple of growth just between Pulse and PulseX. You can imagine when Pulsechain launches how much bigger the X community is going to grow. So that's pretty crazy. So look at this beautiful stuff here coming from Power City. Now they're expected to have their two dApps, the core and I think the amplifier, out this month. I don't think we've seen that yet. But they must be getting pretty close. November has not quite finished yet, so they've still got another 10 days to get that out. So we're looking forward to that as well. We were playing around that on Test Network. Now they're going to have all this ecosystem with multiple utilities coming in, and of course all those fees from all these utilities, which are top tier utilities, and they're going to be flowing into Pulsechain. So if you got their Watt token, their sacrifice is still open, by the way, at the moment. You can check that out on the sacrifices in our Discord. But of course, these are all going to feed through fees into buy Pulse for you. So if you missed out on Pulsechain, this is possibly the best way of getting it, even after Pulsechain launches, because you've got all these businesses buying Pulse for you, and you're not having to just save your savings from your work, for example, and buy Pulse. This is going to do it for you. So it's you definitely check it out. It's well worth it. I did a video on that, so you can check that out. Now they've given us a little UI teaser here on there's a little bit blurrier on this one, but they've given us a little UI tester of the amplifier summary. And of course, they've got their core dApp as well, which is where you stake your Watt token and get your PLS fees, fee revenue from all the fees. So you can see their UI is looking pretty nice as well. And so they're continuing to evolve that. So I can't wait for their dApp to come out with the latest UI, but it's looking pretty good. Now, some of the other things that are coming out is we've had this new one, Famous. So what have we got? We got Fiat, which is a fork of Aave that's coming as well. They've got a lot more work to do with the user interface on that one. So I haven't shown that one in particular, but it's going to be a very important DeFi. But this one here, Famous as well, IDO is their next one coming up. And of course, their first one, Fiat, was very short-lived with the sacrifice. So it's a very exclusive club in that, whereas Famous is coming up here. And I think this is possibly this is going to open up margin lending and leverage to Pulsechain, which is going to be very big. Obviously, we talk about leverage and margin trading in CFI. But the problem with that is that people are gambling. But there's always going to be people using this, so there's always a use case for this. And so this is coming up to famous.io soon, and I'm looking forward to see where they head with that. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I do think they've got a Twitter space coming up soon on this one, so it's probably well worth heading up there on the old Fiat. So that's pretty cool. It's looking good. We've also got Pulse Hot List. So this is kind of a cool site. It helps you to do a pre-assessment, as I call it. It's not your full investment. You need to do your own investment due diligence, but it does give you a quick quick glance. And of course, Pulse Hot List is doing a lot of major onboarding, but they've got a nice, cool little site. It's a bit more funky gaming site, but it gives you all the projects and that are coming into the Pulsechain ecosystem. Not all of them, but a lot of the top ones. It's got 62 at the moment that have been rated, and it gives you kind of a ranking. And you have to deep dive further into that, but you can see that it gives you a good starting point on pulsehotlist.com, which is pretty cool. So you can check that out. Now, all these links you can find on our Pulsechain projects under Pulsechain projects here, and you'll find all these links. You'll find a lot of top projects we talk about. You've got the Pulsechain Sacrifice project list if you want to look at the sacrifices like Power City, for example. We've got the Pulsechain news with a list of all the projects. Some of the links in there are deprecated, but you've pretty much got a pretty decent list of all the projects there. And of course, Pulse Police as well. If you want to if projects are out there doing stuff, you want to get it checked for good code. These guys do look at a certain amount of the project, which gives you that extra sense of confidence in a project. And of course, a few others. We got a few other things there as well. So cool. That's pretty much it. You got all the sacrifice projects, and the Pulse Hot List is there, Pulse Hot comparison there if you want to learn a bit more. So it's really a learning tool out there as well. So we've got lots of cool stuff coming, folks, and these are some of the top ones. But we've got so much beautiful UIs. I mean, look at some of these are going to be really cool. That's a little blurred, that one there, but it's going to be really nice. Look at this, so cool in some of these dApps. So it's going to be an exciting place to be. I think the beauty of Pulsechain ecosystem is going to be amazing. And on top of having PulseX and of course the Pulsechain and of course Richard Art as the founder, we're going to see some pretty amazing things in the next bull market. And maybe very well that Pulsechain is the one that helps the bull market to kick off. Watch the space on that. CeFi and centralized exchanges are really being wrecked, and there's a big contagion there. DeFi is the future, and of course that's where we live. We live in the DeFi future, so definitely a place to be. Now we've just an hour past the hour, so we've got the Hex Daily Stats. That is the end of that section. Let's get into the poll, and we're going to get Hex Daily Stats, folks. It's going to be a lot of cool fun. So let's see, we're at 120 votes, which is awesome. Let's see how we rolled out with that one. Let's see how we're done. All right, so cool. We got, what do you think is the most beautiful thing about the Pulsechain ecosystem? Pulsechain and PulseX Tech Tokenomics, 45%. Wow. We got Pump My Bags, maybe 1,000x, 10,000x, 36%. Yep. And growing community, 14%. And ecosystem dApps, DeFi, NFTs, 3%. Wow. Well, I'm not surprised by that. I'm probably a little surprised about the ecosystem dApps, DeFi, NFTs. But apart from that, I'm not surprised with the results there. That's pretty awesome. So yeah, pretty cool. All right, so hopefully that gives you a little bit of insight there into that one. And let's jump over to the Hex Daily Stats, day 1083, and of course the 19th of November. The price is down just a tad at the 0.3% down at just under 3.1 cents. We've got the Hex payout today. Another great day, man. We've had a lucky time in Hex staking. 6.3 Hex per T-share. We've got the T-share price at $778. Another dot day for the share rate, and we're at 25,110 on the share rate there. The average staking net is 6.7 years. Hex stakers are around for a long time. The APY yield there includes inflation and penalties is 38.37% paid out in Hex. Obviously, the Hex price moves around. The Hex pool there, the 350 million Hex in the pool, and we've got just over $9.8 million in the pool, and 1,500 Ethereum there on the I guess the buy side there. So yeah, cool. Let's jump over to the T-shares. We've got 4,889 increase in T-shares, so we're at 10,405,000 T-shares. Remember, Hex is easy to understand. We're a reward pool with inflation and penalties, and we have an ownership pool with T-shares. T-shares stands for trillions of shares. If we have a change in reward pool or the ownership pool, then the Hex payout per T-share changes slightly every day. So that's pretty much it. Let's jump over to the stake percentage of coins. 9.69% of Hex is staked at the moment. We've got 2.8 million in penalties today. Great to be a T-share staker, that's for sure. Oh, man, look at these numbers over the last 10 days. Oh, my gosh, it's amazing. Look at these numbers. 2.8 million, 96 million, 22 million, 1.7 million. Hex stakers get paid, delayed gratification. And wow. And those who haven't delayed their gratification, what do? They get penalized. So there we are for the most part. So obviously there's a few other special cases in there as well. Changing current holders down 3 to 313,544 current holders. This is what you'll see on Etherscan there. We've got the current stakers up 302. Woohoo! Yeah. So one of the things about, I guess, more people talking about things and the price being an accumulation zone for Hex is that you get more stakers as well. And that's pretty cool. We've also got Hex HSIs with the Icosa Hedron doing pretty well. So we're probably getting a bit of that as well. Current stakers 113,464. And, of course, total holders up 414 to 510,935. That is day 1,083, folks. We're up to day 1,094. We're 11 days away from Hex's third birthday, day 1,095, the 2nd of December, 2022. It's getting exciting, folks. We're starting off with a base T-share rate of around about 6.17. That's a good place to be. T-shares, folks, check out hex.com in the video description. Make sure you do your investment due diligence. Nothing on this channel is investment advice. If you want to have a chat with other people in the community, get into our Discord. It's a great place to be. And onwards and upwards. If you like good info, good community, get in there. It's a great place to be. All right, so cool. We're going to close down quite a few of these things. We're going to start wrapping up now. And I hope you guys have enjoyed today's live stream. I certainly have. And it's been a lot of fun for sure. Let's check out the markets at the moment. We've got BTC at 16,726, ETH at 1223. BNB at 272. The hammer has not yet fallen. Will it be this week? We will see. And of course, we've got Hex at the moment at 3.1 cents. And so far, we've got, let's have a look at Hedron as well. Just while we're here, we've got Hedron at 2,636. And of course, let's look at Pulse Bitcoin, the latest token in the Icosa change, ecosystem, I should say. I don't know what I'm saying right now. We're at $3. Woohoo! On Pulse Bitcoin. So congratulations to all you Pulse Bitcoin miners. This is just the beginning. And of course, we're about 8 hours into the game now. We'll see how we get on after 24 hours. It's just beginning there. All right, so cool. If you want to talk about Pulse Bitcoin, get into our Discord, get into the new tokens chat, and I'm sure there's plenty of people there that want to talk about their mining and their experience so far. All right, so cool. Let's get into the chats there as well. We're going to leave it on the Hex chart. I'm just going to wrap up with a couple of the comments in the chat and see how people are getting on. Let's see, fun times in the Hex ecosystem, says Katie. That's true. Just having a look through some of this as well. Andrew says, I wonder what the Texan market cap is now. Claims are done. Yeah, well, it's not launched yet, has it, Andrew? It hasn't launched yet. It's launching on Pulsechain. I think we got jump through that. Sabrina says, Superman, check the price of Texan token on testing. I heard it's gone way up from here. We bought in. Oh, nice one there, Brent. No, I haven't seen that, so that's cool. Everyone and Hex Token have a good rest of the stream. Thanks, Sandy Beach. Always appreciate it. Sam says, we'll catch the replay. Nice one, Sam. Rothko says, Hex will outlast all the centralized scams. Huge potential, says Rothko. Yeah, it's looking good. 100% says Briz. What else we got going on here? A few other comments. We've got Grade Made says, awesome to see you pushing Pulsechain. I think we're going to do good on this process, says Grade Mad. Yeah, it's going to be great, man. It's going to be mind-blowing, honestly. Famous hosting Spaces on the 26th of November. Yeah, I'll definitely probably catch up to that and see what they're doing in that space as well. Now, I would like to see more competition in the DeFi space on the Pulsechain. So it's one thing I would like to see. I'd like to see more lending competitions in there. So that's something I've been talking about. Pretty cool. I'd like to see other devs do lending platforms too. I'd like to see quite a few of those. Take care, all says Lights Beneath. You too. That's awesome, says Ryan. And Brazil's are woohoo. Yeah, I love it. Cheers, Hex Token, says Terry Dot. And Brendan says, I checked Superman and it's at $12. Nice one there on the test net there for Texan Token. Wow, that's pretty awesome. All right, so we're going to chill out here. Let's remove that from the studio. Hope you guys have a good day. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share the bell. See you in Discord. I will catch you guys all tomorrow. Bye for now. Peace out.
Here in my $3,000 Valentino Rockstud purse, my $3,000 Prada jacket, $2,000 Prada shirt, $2,000 or $3,000 Prada pants, Prada glasses, Prada hat, Prada bracelet, and it's all
Product shirt, Prada hat, Prada glasses, Prada pants, and it's all nylon, so the haters' tears fall right off. Prada shirt, Prada hat, Prada glasses, Prada pants, and it's all nylon, so the haters' tears fall right off.
Lil Bubble, let me ride that rocket.